Kia and Hyundai announced another recall today for an engine fire risk affecting nearly 189,000 newer cars and SUVs.
Imagine buying a brand new car that's practically guaranteed to fail before you've even made the first year of payments. Sounds like a nightmare, right? Well, that's exactly what happened to thousands of Americans in the 2000s. Today, we're exposing 10 cars from that era that were so poorly built, they barely made it 12 months. Stick around because number 1 has so many recalls, it's basically a subscription to your local repair shop. Number 10. Chrysler PT Cruiser. Remember when the PT Cruiser first rolled out? Everyone thought it looked quirky and fun, like a hot rod from the 1930s got a modern makeover. But here's the problem. Looks can be deceiving, and this retro wannabe was hiding some serious mechanical nightmares. For starters, most PT Cruisers burned oil like crazy and leaked it too. That means you had to be really diligent about keeping the correct amount of oil in the engine. If not, you'd have serious engine trouble. Owners reported checking their oil weekly just to avoid catastrophic failure. Many problems were reported with the car just stalling in the middle of traffic. Picture this. You're cruising down the highway at 65 miles per hour, and suddenly the engine just quits. No warning, no sputtering, just dead. That's not just inconvenient, that's a serious safety issue. The 2.4-liter engine was particularly troublesome. Timing belt failures were common, and when that belt snapped, it often took the entire engine with it. Valve damage, bent pistons, the whole 9 yards. Then there were the electrical gremlins. Power windows that stopped working, door locks that had minds of their own, and dashboard lights that flickered like a haunted house. The check engine light became such a permanent fixture that owners joked it was just part of the dashboard design. Number 9. Chevrolet Trailblazer. The Chevy Trailblazer looked tough on paper. Mid-size SUV, available V8 engine, plenty of room for the family. But in reality, it was a rolling disaster waiting to happen. These vehicles had a wide variety of faulty electrical problems. Dashboard gauges were a complete joke. The fuel gauge would read full when you were running on fumes, or show empty when you just filled up. The speedometer was often inaccurate or didn't work at all. There were plenty of times the check engine light came on when it shouldn't have, and also times when it should have come on but didn't, so you never really knew if you had a problem or if the truck was just crying wolf. Power door locks and windows failed with alarming regularity. The V8 versions had a fuel-saving feature that would turn off 4 cylinders to reduce fuel consumption. Sounds smart, right? Wrong. The 4 cylinders that stopped working often wouldn't re-engage when they were needed, so you'd be trying to merge onto the highway with half your engine missing in action. Between 2002 and 2009, over 272,000 vehicles were recalled due to battery issues that could cause sudden failures in essential systems like hazard lights and infotainment. Number 8. Nissan Rogue. The Nissan Rogue should have been a home run. Compact crossover, decent styling, reasonable price. But Nissan made one fatal mistake. They equipped it with a Jatco CVT transmission, and that decision doomed this vehicle from the start. If you know anything about transmissions, you know that Jatco CVTs are notorious for failure. It's not a question of if the transmission will fail, it's a question of when. And with the Rogue, the answer was usually sooner than you'd like. Owners reported transmission problems starting before 20,000 miles. The CVT would shudder, hesitate, overheat, and eventually just give up entirely. Replacing a CVT isn't cheap either. You're looking at $3,000 to $5,000 for a new transmission. Many owners went through multiple transmissions during their ownership. Beyond the transmission, the Rogue had its share of other issues. The rear-view camera would fail. Electrical problems plagued the infotainment system, and the engine itself had reports of excessive oil consumption and premature wear. This is particularly sad because Nissan used to be known for reliability, but their partnership with Renault and the decision to use cheap Jatco transmissions destroyed that reputation. Number 7. Volkswagen Touareg. Volkswagen's Touareg was supposed to be their answer to the luxury SUV market. It had a premium interior, advanced technology, and German engineering, but it also had a maintenance schedule that would make your wallet weep. The first-generation Touareg was plagued with electrical issues from day one. The air suspension system failed so frequently that many owners just gave up and converted to regular coil springs. The 3.2-liter V6 engine had timing chain problems that could lead to catastrophic engine failure. When the timing chain went, it often took the entire engine with it, resulting in repair bills that exceeded the value of the vehicle. The 4.2-liter V8 had even worse problems. Coolant leaks, oil consumption, and carbon buildup on the intake valves were common complaints. The transmission had a tendency to slip, jerk, and eventually fail completely. Replacement cost. Try $5,000 to $7,000. But perhaps the most frustrating aspect was the cost of routine maintenance. A simple oil change could run $200. Brake jobs were $1,000 or more. Consumer Reports ranked the Touareg as one of the least reliable SUVs of its era. Number 6. Land Rover Range Rover. If you wanted to look wealthy in the 2000s, you bought a Range Rover. If you wanted to actually stay wealthy, you avoided it like the plague. These British SUVs were beautiful, luxurious, and about as reliable as a chocolate teapot. The air suspension system was the first thing to go, usually around 60,000 miles. When it failed, the Range Rover would sag on its axles like a tired old dog. Repair costs? Between $4,000 and $6,000. The electrical system was a nightmare. Sensors went rogue, infotainment systems froze, and warning lights illuminated the dashboard like a Christmas tree. Owners reported spending thousands trying to chase down electrical gremlins that mechanics couldn't even diagnose. Engine problems were equally common. Oil leaks, coolant leaks, timing chain failures, and overheating issues plagued these vehicles. The transmission was another weak point. Rough shifting, slipping gears, and complete failure were all too common. Over a 10-year period, maintenance and repair costs could total approximately $18,737. Additionally, there's a 49% chance that a major repair will be needed during this time. Depreciation was equally brutal. A 3-year-old Range Rover retained just 35 to 40% of its value. Number 5. Chevrolet Aveo. The Chevrolet Aveo was really a Korean-made Daewoo in disguise. And if you know anything about Daewoo, you know that's not a good thing. The company Daewoo declared bankruptcy back in 1999 because they were selling cars that were complete junk and nobody wanted to buy them. GM had this brilliant idea to buy them and rescue the company. There was a car for sale in Korea called the Daewoo Kalos. They rebadged it and sold it in the United States as the Chevrolet Aveo. These cars were famous for leaking massive amounts of oil and throwing rods, requiring replacement engines. And we're not talking about high-mileage engines giving up the ghost. These were relatively new cars having catastrophic engine failures. They also had faulty wheel bearings that would howl and grind, making driving uncomfortable and dangerous. The rear axle had problems too, with components failing prematurely. The automatic transmissions would regularly fail, often before 100,000 miles. When they did, you were looking at repair costs that exceeded the value of the car. Most owners just junked them rather than fix them. The interior was equally terrible. Cheap plastics everywhere, seats that felt like park benches, and a dashboard that looked like it came from a toy store. Everything rattled, nothing fit properly, and the overall quality was embarrassing. The Aveo proved that just because a car is cheap to buy doesn't mean it's a good value. When it breaks down constantly and costs a fortune to fix, that bargain price doesn't seem so great anymore. Number 4. Chrysler Sebring. The Chrysler Sebring was supposed to be a stylish, affordable midsize sedan. Instead, it became a cautionary tale about what happens when a manufacturer prioritizes cost-cutting over quality. The 2.7-liter V6 engine was an absolute disaster. It had a design flaw where sludge would build up in the engine, clogging oil passages and starving critical components of lubrication. Even with regular oil changes, these engines would fail prematurely, often before 100,000 miles. When the engine did fail, you were looking at either a complete engine rebuild or replacement, costing $4,000 to $6,000. The 4-speed automatic transmission was equally problematic. It would slip, hesitate, and eventually fail completely. Electrical problems plagued the Sebring throughout its production run. The power windows would fail, the door locks would stop working, and the radio would randomly shut off. The interior quality was abysmal. Cheap plastics cracked and faded within months. The seats were uncomfortable. The dashboard rattled. Consumer Reports ranked the Sebring as one of the worst cars you could buy. Number 3. Pontiac Aztek. The Pontiac Aztek is often called the ugliest car ever made, and while beauty is subjective, its reliability problems were objective facts. This crossover SUV was a disaster on wheels. Along with the ugly styling, you got a car plagued with mechanical and electrical problems. The most common mechanical complaints were overheating, coolant leaking, blowing head gaskets, and intake manifold gasket failures. The 3.4-liter V6 engine had serious design flaws. The intake manifold gaskets would fail, causing coolant to leak into the engine. If not caught early, this would lead to overheating and blown head gaskets. Repair costs could easily exceed $2,000. The cooling system itself was inadequate. Even in moderate climates, Azteks would overheat in traffic or on hot days. Electrical problems were equally frustrating. Power windows would fail, power door locks would stop working, and the security system would malfunction, sometimes preventing the car from starting at all. The stereo system was particularly awful. It would randomly shut off, lose all its presets, or just stop working entirely. GM discontinued it after just 5 years, but the damage to Pontiac's reputation was already done. Number 2. Dodge Neon. The second-generation Dodge Neon was cheap to buy, and there was a good reason for that. It was built cheaply, and it showed in every aspect of the vehicle. The 2.0-liter four-cylinder engine had serious head gasket problems. These gaskets would fail prematurely, causing coolant to leak into the oil or vice versa. If not caught immediately, this would lead to engine damage that could total the car. The automatic transmission was a ticking time bomb. It would slip, jerk, and eventually fail completely, often before 80,000 miles. Manual transmission models weren't much better, with clutch problems and shifter issues being common complaints. Electrical problems were rampant. The alternator would fail, leaving you stranded with a dead battery. The starter would go bad, requiring expensive replacement. The suspension components wore out quickly. Ball joints, tie rod ends, and control arm bushings all had shorter than normal lifespans. The interior was a disaster. Cheap plastics cracked and faded. The dashboard would warp in the sun. Consumer Reports gave the Neon some of the worst reliability ratings of any compact car. Number 1. Hyundai and Kia models with 2-liter or 2.4-liter engines. If you're shopping for a used car, avoid any Hyundai or Kia model with a 2.0-liter or 2.4-liter four-cylinder engine. These engines have been causing chaos for over a decade, and they're still being used in brand new cars. Starting in 2011, Hyundai and Kia began putting these engines in millions of cars, but they were built with serious flaws. Owners quickly reported problems like engines burning through oil way too fast, loud ticking or knocking noises, and sudden breakdowns. The issues trace back to critical parts inside the engine, like rod bearings, piston rings, and seals wearing out prematurely. When these parts fail, the engine can seize up completely, often without warning. Near the end of 2023, Kia and Hyundai had a massive recall of 3.3 million cars due to a serious fire hazard. Their vehicles' anti-lock brake systems could leak brake fluid, leading to an electrical short. This means too much electricity could surge through, potentially sparking a fire in the engine, whether you're driving or just parked. Over 3,100 fires have been reported to federal regulators since 2010. Some have engulfed parked cars in garages, causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in property damage and putting lives at risk. Hyundai and Kia have known about these defects for years. They've recalled over 10 million vehicles globally since 2015. But even after all these recalls, they're still selling new cars with updated versions of the same 2.0-liter engines. Industry experts claim the fixes don't address the root problems, leaving drivers with expensive repairs and safety risks. These engines are in some of the most popular models: the Hyundai Sonata, Elantra, Tucson, and Santa Fe, the Kia Optima, Sorento, and Sportage. Millions of Americans are driving around in potential fire hazards. We hope you enjoyed this video. Here's another one you'll love. As always, thanks for watching.